The hallways of Crestwood High buzzed with the nervous energy of a new school year. Miss Emily Carter, fresh out of Teachers College, navigated the crowded halls, her arms laden with books. She was excited, nervous, and more than a little intimidated. This was it, her first real teaching job. Her classroom was on the second floor, overlooking the football field. It was bright and airy, with posters of literary giants lining the walls. Emily hoped it would be a place where her students could find their voice. Among the sea of unfamiliar faces in her English class, one student stood out. Alex Thompson sat in the back row, his gaze fixed on a worn copy of The Catcher in the Rye. He seemed distant, lost in his own world. Emily noticed him immediately. There was a quiet intensity about him, a depth that hinted at something more. She made a mental note to reach out to him. Emily's first few weeks at Crestwood were a whirlwind of lesson plans, grading papers, and learning the ropes. She quickly established herself as a passionate and engaging teacher. Her love for literature was contagious, and her students, even the most reluctant ones, found themselves drawn into the world she created in her classroom. Yet, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that Alex was holding back. He was a bright student, that much was clear from his writing assignments, but he rarely participated in class discussions.
Alex, is everything all right? I've noticed you haven't been yourself lately.
I'm not really sure what to say. It's just, I don't really fit in here.
Emily listened patiently as Alex poured out his heart to her. He told her about his passion for writing, his struggles to connect with his peers, and his feelings of isolation. He felt like an outsider, different from everyone else. Emily understood his feelings all too well. She had been a shy and awkward teenager herself, finding solace in the pages of books.
Alex, you are not alone. Everyone feels lost and out of place sometimes, especially in high school. But you have a gift, a way with words that is truly special. Don't let anyone dim your light.
Emily's words seemed to strike a chord with Alex. He had never thought of his writing as anything special before, just a way to escape from the realities of his life. But Emily's encouragement sparked something within him, a flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, he could be more than just the quiet kid in the back of the class. Over the next few weeks, Emily made a concerted effort to connect with Alex. She encouraged him to share his writing in class, praising his unique voice and insightful observations. Slowly but surely, Alex began to come out of his shell. He started participating more in class discussions, his confidence growing with each shared thought. He even joined the school's literary magazine, finding a community of like-minded individuals who shared his passion for the written word. Emily watched Alex's transformation with a sense of pride and satisfaction. She knew that teaching was more than just imparting knowledge. It was about nurturing hearts and minds, helping young people discover their potential and find their place in the world. As the school year progressed, Emily and Alex's relationship evolved beyond the traditional student-teacher dynamic. They discovered a shared love for classic literature, spending hours discussing the works of Jane Austen, F. Scott Fitzgerald, and their favorite J.D. Salinger. Emily found herself looking forward to their conversations, her heart warming at Alex's insightful observations and infectious enthusiasm. He had a way of looking at the world that was both refreshing and thought-provoking. Their conversations extended beyond the classroom walls, spilling into the hallways, the library, and even the local coffee shop where Emily had become a regular. They would talk about everything and nothing, from their favorite books and movies to their hopes and dreams for the future. Emily learned about Alex's difficult home life, his strained relationship with his parents, and his desire to escape his small town and make a name for himself as a writer.
You get me, Miss Carter. You see me, not just the quiet kid in the back of the class.
I see you, Alex, and I believe in you.
Their bond, however, was not without its challenges. Emily was acutely aware of the ethical boundaries that existed between them. She was his teacher, his mentor, and she had a responsibility to maintain a professional distance. Yet, she couldn't deny the growing feelings of affection she had for Alex. He was intelligent, sensitive, and kind, everything she had ever wanted in a friend. And perhaps she dared to admit to herself something more. Emily knew how it felt to be unseen, unheard, to yearn for someone who could look past the surface and see the real you. She had to be strong, for both of them. Their relationship, as special as it was, had to stay firmly planted on the right side of the line. The air crackled with unspoken tension. They sat across from each other in their usual booth at the coffee shop, but the comfortable familiarity felt different this time.
Miss Carter, I have something to tell you, something I probably shouldn't.
Emily's heart pounded against her ribs. She knew with a sinking feeling what was coming. She had tried to ignore the signs, the way his eyes followed her every move, the way his hand brushed against hers when he passed back his assignments. She had told herself it was all in her head, a product of her own loneliness and the intensity of their connection. But deep down, she knew better.
Alex, I care about you, you know that, but I'm your teacher. There are lines we can't cross.
Her words hung in the air between them, heavy with unspoken emotions.
I know, I can't help how I feel.
He looked up at her then, his eyes filled with a mixture of longing and despair that tore at Emily's heart. She wanted to reach out, to comfort him, but she knew she couldn't. She had to be strong for both of them.
I understand, Alex. But we need to set boundaries. For your sake, for mine, for the sake of our student-teacher relationship. I value our friendship, our conversations, but we can't be more than that. It's not appropriate, and it could jeopardize everything.
The disappointment in Alex's eyes was like a punch to the gut. Emily had hurt him, she knew that. But she had to be honest, even if it meant pushing him away. She couldn't, in good conscience, encourage his feelings, knowing the potential consequences. Their relationship, as special as it was, had to stay firmly planted on the right side of the line. Emily knew she had made the right decision. Their bond, unconventional as it was, had served its purpose. The remainder of Alex's senior year was a delicate dance. They maintained a careful distance, their conversations limited to academics and school events. The easy banter and shared laughter that had once filled their time together were replaced by a strained politeness. Emily threw herself into her work, grading papers and planning lessons with a ferocity that surprised even her. Alex, true to his nature, retreated into himself, finding solace in his writing. As graduation approached, Emily couldn't shake the feeling of melancholy that washed over her. She was proud of Alex, of the young man he was becoming, but she couldn't deny the part of her that wished things were different. She had grown to care for him deeply, more than she had ever anticipated. At the graduation ceremony, Emily watched from the sidelines as Alex crossed the stage, his diploma held high. He had blossomed into a confident young man, his eyes bright with promise and potential. As their eyes met across the crowded auditorium, Emily felt a surge of pride, mixed with a tinge of bittersweet sadness. Later that evening, Emily sat at her desk, grading the final batch of essays. As she reached the last paper, she noticed Alex's name scrawled across the top. Taking a deep breath, she began to read. The essay, titled "The Power of Connection," was a poignant reflection on the importance of human relationships. He hadn't named her specifically, but she knew the essay was about her. The years that followed Alex's graduation were a blur of activity for Emily. She poured herself into her teaching, her passion for literature and her unwavering belief in her students never waning. She mentored countless young minds, guiding them through the tumultuous waters of adolescence and helping them find their voice. Yet, there was a void in her life, a quiet ache that lingered in the back of her mind. She often thought of Alex, wondering where life had taken him, hoping that he was happy and fulfilled. Emily received postcards from Alex sporadically over the years. He was traveling the world, his words painting vivid pictures of far-off lands and exotic cultures. He was writing, he wrote, pouring his heart and soul into his craft. He never mentioned their shared past, but Emily could sense his unspoken gratitude in the spaces between his words. She kept his postcards tucked away in a drawer, a tangible reminder of their unique bond. One day, a package arrived for Emily. Inside, she found a copy of Alex's debut novel, a coming-of-age story about a young man finding his place in the world. The inscription read simply, "To Miss Carter, thank you for everything." Emily's heart ached with a familiar blend of pride and longing. She devoured the book in one sitting, her emotions swirling with each turn of the page. He had poured his heart and soul into his writing, and it showed. A book signing event at a local bookstore brought Alex back into Emily's life. He was older now, but his eyes still held the same spark of intelligence and warmth. When it was finally her turn, Alex looked up and their eyes met. A slow smile spread across his face, erasing the years.
Miss Carter, it's so good to see you.
They talked for hours, sharing stories and laughter. You made such a difference in my life, Miss Carter. Emily's eyes welled up at his words. They had forged a bond that was both unique and unbreakable. Sometimes the greatest love stories are written in the ink of shared experiences.